Hello, my name is Representative Pam Powers Hanley, and I represent LD9 in Tucson in the Arizona House. Today is May 17, 2022. You may have realized that we've had kind of a sketchy schedule recently, well, actually since like the beginning of April. And so there have been many weeks where we only had like one or two votes or one or two bills, and we were in session randomly for the last several weeks. And so why is that? It's because the Republicans can't decide on the budget amongst themselves. And so last year, you might remember that the Democrats complained quite a bit that there were 28 days, almost an entire month's worth of work, where we came in and we did pledge and pray and we did no votes. Well, this year, they're letting out the votes in little drips and drabs, one or two here and there. So we don't just have days with pledge and pray this year, but we do have many days with very little work. Today, what we did have is 7 different voting-related bills. You might have read the article that was in the Arizona Mirror recently that celebrated county recorders and their fight against the red state legislators who are trying to take away our rights to vote. And it included Arizona in there. And I wanted to write to them and say, hey, Sparky, we're not over yet. Anything can happen in the Arizona legislature, and often does in the waning weeks of the session. So, as I said, we had 7 different election-related bills, some good, some bad, some, kind of in between. But what's exciting, though, is that 3 of the 7 bills didn't pass. Yay! And why is that? Is it because they were just really horrible bills? Well, no, not so much. They didn't pass because 2 Republicans were not here. And so Representatives Hoffman and Parker, who are 2 of the most extreme libertarians on the Republican side, are holdouts on the budget. Hoffman has said that we're spending way too much money, and even though there's all this need in our state, he wants to cut the budget. And so they are not voting, which causes Republican bills to die. There was even some talk that they were going to go out and try to find Hoffman and Parker to bring them back. And we kind of hung around waiting for them to bring them back, but they didn't. So anyway, 7 bills. So the ones that died are SB 1013, which is Secretary of State federal form. And this says that the Secretary of State should write to the feds and try to get some sort of a citizenship question in the federal election. Another one that died is SB 1260. This is Registration's Early Voting Move Notice. And so this is similar to one that came up last year. And this is a thing where, for example, if you're a parent and you have a college-age child and they have a registration in Arizona still, and their ballot comes to you, if you forward it, you could get into trouble. This bill is a little different this year because it says if you mail the ballot knowing that they are registered someplace else, then you get into trouble. Another one that failed was SB 1362. This is early ballot on-site tabulation. And so this says that if you have your mail-in ballot on Election Day still, and you have not mailed it, that you can bring it to any polling place and expect them to tabulate your ballot right there while you wait. And so usually, if you have a paper ballot that you didn't mail, you put it in a bin, and then it is counted after Election Day, or maybe the night of Election Day, if you're lucky. I think what we really need is a good standard statewide process for what happens to those ballots that were dropped off at the polling place and what happens to the ones that maybe have a messed up signature and this and that. What we found out last year was that counties had sort of different processes in how they manage the ballots that they have sitting there after Election Day. So that one also failed. Some of the ones that passed, there was 1329, which says that the county recorders should put the tabulations up as things are going on. So this way, you can go to their website and say, oh my God, look, it's close or whatever. And you can get an idea of how many more still have to be counted. So that's a good bill. Another one that passed, which I'm still a little leery of is SB 1008. This changes the margins for recounts. I didn't really see a lot of math on this as to how this change would happen. So I'm a little bit concerned about it. I get it. Some races are decided by so few votes, but this seems like kind of a quick fix that may have a hidden consequences to me. Another one that I didn't particularly like is SB 1170. This allows the Game and Fish Department to do voter registration because, hunting and fishing are just like voting, right? So I think that 1170 had a little bit of a single subject issue to it because it was about transferring big game tags to Gold Star children. That's a kid who lost his parent in the war. And it also includes voter registration, and it includes fee waivers for military personnel. So that's 3 different subjects as far as I'm concerned. So with the game and fish thing, what I don't like about this is that, first of all, the Republicans are very concerned about people going door to door and registering people to vote. They also don't like the big events where there'll be a voter registration table. So I don't see how having voter registration handled by untrained retail clerks in stores across the state, I don't see how that is any less risky than having a table at a community event where people fill out the voter registration form. 1477, this is voter registration and felonies. This is about people losing their rights or gaining their rights to vote. So it was a mixed bag. There was some voter suppression. There was some stuff that was not so bad. And we have 3 bills now that failed but are going to be brought up for reconsideration. So anything can happen up here. Postscript, May 31, 2022. Huffman and Parker showed up for work and helped pass the 3 failed voter suppression bills and the ban on critical race theory on May 25, 2022. On the budget front, there is still no budget deal within the Republican Caucus of the Arizona Legislature. Rumors abound that Republican leadership is negotiating with a handful of Democrats to pass a compromise budget. How can any Democrats sign onto a budget that includes no significant funding for public education after the demise of Prop 208, Invest in Ed? To complicate matters, Governor Ducey now says that he wants action on the Arizona Water Authority before he will entertain a budget. We expect Republican drama and random schedules to continue through the month of June.